Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. Today, we're really plunging into something big, a truly pivotal moment. We're looking at September 2025. And honestly, our sources, they make it sound less like just another month and more like, well, a cosmic event horizon. So our mission today is to unpack the really intense transformations predicted. We're talking personal stuff, but also these huge, sweeping, almost galactic scale shifts. We've got two fascinating texts from Tarot by High C to guide us. Astrology of the Week for 01 to 07, September 2025, and also the StoryScope for that same week. And both of them introduce this concept. The Eclipse Wars, Prelude to the Ninth Cycle. Sounds pretty epic, right?
It really does. And what's so interesting is how these sources, they aren't just giving different viewpoints, they actually weave together. It's like this cohesive, almost mythic picture. You see the astrology mirroring this grand narrative arc, and the central theme jumps out almost immediately. This powerful call. This week is a mix of movement and reckoning. Stop speeding through what deserves our presence. Right. It's like an invitation, not just to understand what's happening, but why it matters, and how it really challenges us to rewrite our story.
Yeah, that rewrite our story bit really resonates. And if there's one core message, one phrase that kind of echoes through all of this, it's this one: don't cling to what's ending. Don't fight the tide. Endings happen. Truth gets unmasked. Tears may be shed. And this is the key part. We're not unraveling, we're rewriting. And the story gets better from here. It even frames history differently, doesn't it? Like, not measured in years, but in these powerful tides of change. So what can you expect from this deep dive? Well, we're definitely going to explore the specific planetary stuff, the return of eclipse season with two major eclipses that are apparently set to just accelerate everything, ignite transformation. We'll try to connect those personal insights, things you can actually use with this, almost sci-fi narrative of galactic shifts. You'll get the what and hopefully the so what's for you.
Indeed. And the sources are pretty clear. September 2025 isn't just any month. They're calling it the most crucial of the year. We're heading back into eclipse season, which is always a time when things can shift fast. Profound transformations, insights, they can unfold at, well, lightning speed. It really is a time when destiny seems to accelerate.
Yeah.
The Archivists in the StoryScope piece, they're like the cosmic record keepers. They observe exactly that. Things that might normally take centuries could happen in decades. Slow evolutions might just erupt violently even.
Wow, lightning speed and erupt violently. That sounds incredibly intense. So September brings two big eclipses you mentioned. First, a blood moon lunar eclipse in Pisces on the 7th, then later a new moon solar eclipse in Virgo on the 21st. For listeners maybe not as familiar, what do eclipses actually signify here? What's the deal?
Well, they're described as propelling us, pushing us towards a higher state of awareness. They act as really powerful catalysts for realignment. A lunar eclipse, like the one in Pisces, that often brings powerful endings, maybe revelations, big emotional releases. It tends to shine a light on what we need to let go of. A solar eclipse, like the Virgo one later, that signals new beginnings, new opportunities, like planting seeds for the future. So they don't just gently nudge us. The sources say they actively guide us toward the path we need for our growth, sometimes shaking the very foundations of what we believe.
Okay, so definitely not a business as usual kind of month. We're talking about shedding the old, opening our eyes to maybe a new reality.
Yeah.
So sources actually give a bit of a roadmap, right? Like the first part of September is about organization, structure, riding these currents, while the second half shifts more towards finding balance.
Exactly. And those strategies are really reinforced by what the planets themselves are doing. Our sources detail specific demands from the planets. It's almost like they're characters in this big cosmic drama playing out. Saturn, for instance, demands boundaries. Personal accountability, the astrology source talks about old grief coming up, spiritual shortcuts just not working anymore, a kind of thickening fog that can make us feel heavier, maybe craving silence. It's a time when karmic lessons, maybe from back in March 2023, reach a conclusion. It's a chance to tie up loose ends, really assess our spiritual practices. It asks us point blank, are we truly walking our spiritual talk? Or are concepts like we are all one sometimes just, well, a form of spiritual bypassing?
That's a really powerful question for, personal reflection. How do we tell the difference between genuine practice and just avoiding the tough stuff?
Yeah, it's about checking in with that internal compass. Saturn, being the planet of discipline, structure, it encourages us to build solid internal boundaries and to acknowledge where we might be sort of leaking energy or avoiding responsibility. And in the StoryScope, this Saturn influence, it plays out on a huge scale. The Council of Saturn acting like the galactic enforcers of order, they tighten its grip, erecting barriers of law, surveillance, and discipline. It's like a galactic mirror to our personal reckoning. It forces everyone, everywhere, to ask, do you walk the path you preach?
Fascinating parallel. And then there's Pluto, the planet of power, death, regeneration. It's going out of bounds from September 1st right through to November 20th. And apparently for the next 10 years, off and on. For those less familiar, what does out of bounds actually mean for a planet like Pluto?
Right? Out of bounds. When a planet goes OOB, it's basically operating outside its usual limits. Think of it like a wild card. Its energies manifest in more exaggerated, unpredictable, sometimes extreme ways. And Pluto, which is already tied to intense transformation and power dynamics, well, it becomes even more unchained, let's say, especially noted between October 3rd and 18th. This first venture out of bounds suggests a period of really intense, often quite raw transformation.
So if Pluto is unchained, what does that look like on that galactic scale the sources describe?
The StoryScope paints a vivid picture. It says, Pluto unchained, a wild card tearing through the hidden architecture of galactic order. You see power lords rise with unprecedented brutality, entire religious orders just dissolve into madness. It's really about the extreme use and abuse of power, whether that's in huge galactic empires or, in the hidden corners of our own lives. We're being asked, I think, to confront where power is being misused, both out there and in here.
Wow. Okay. Building on that intensity, our focus then shifts with Mercury moving into Virgo from September 2nd to the 18th. This apparently demands clarity. Our minds get more practical, analytical, focused on details. We can express thoughts with, remarkable precision. But the sources also warn, don't they, that clarity can curdle into nitpicking. How do we navigate that?
Absolutely. Mercury in Virgo definitely sharpens our analytical skills, which is great. But yeah, the shadow side is getting bogged down in overanalysis or perfection paralysis or just being overly critical of ourselves or other people. The key, I think, is to consciously use that precision for constructive problem solving, for refining things, rather than getting stuck in endless critiques.
Makes sense. And that precise Mercury then runs right into Uranus, which demands flexibility, especially around Wednesday, September 4th. Precision crashes into chaos, is how one source puts it. Expect static, glitches, and breakthroughs disguised as breakdowns. Mental energy is described as electric, erratic, even slightly feral. That's quite a phrase.
Slightly feral, yeah. It really suggests this isn't a time to cling rigidly to perfect plans. It's more a time to experiment, maybe find innovation in the unexpected. The StoryScope captures this so well, I think. Algorithms collapsed under their own contradictions. Starships froze mid-jump. Diplomats lost languages mid-speech. It's this image of total systemic breakdown, right? And this is crucial for the rebels, the Uranian types. This chaos actually becomes innovation. They stole the breakdowns, weaponized the glitches, and forged them into new sciences.
That perspective, weaponize the glitches, that really challenges conventional thinking, doesn't it? How do we personally do that? Weaponize the glitches in our own lives when things inevitably go sideways.
It really comes down to mindset, I believe, maintaining a curious, adaptable one. When something breaks down or goes wrong, instead of resisting or getting frustrated, ask, okay, what new possibility does this actually create? The sources seem to imply the universe is offering us new templates, new ways of doing things, and sometimes the old ones just have to shatter first for us to even see them.
Right, shattering to see the new. Speaking of disruption, Mars demands courage. And on Thursday, September 5th, Mars squares Jupiter. This apparently creates a huge surge of energy, motivation, but also risks impulsive actions, grandiose plans. This square aspect often means tension, a clash of principles, beliefs, morals, leading to intense emotions, maybe defensiveness. The sources warn about the self-righteous crusader being inspired to take unwise risks. What's the key advice there?
The advice is pretty blunt. Choose battles worth fighting. Martyrdom is just theater. This square can definitely ignite passion, which can be good, but it can also ignite hubris, arrogance. So it's really important to channel that fiery energy constructively and to have the discernment to know when to act and, just as importantly, when to pull back. On the bigger stage, the StoryScope just amplifies this into, galactic conflict. Mars squared Jupiter, and with it came crusades. Armadas sailed into the void under banners of principle, morality, and ambition. It becomes a period where courage and hubris are almost indistinguishable. Thousands of battles burning across the Orion Expanse, it says. It shows how these individual astrological aspects can literally shape the fate of civilizations.
Wow. Okay, so that takes us through the week. And as we move into the weekend, specifically Sunday, September 7th, we hit the big one. The full moon and total lunar eclipse in Pisces. Now, for everyone tuning in, a lunar eclipse is a powerful moment, right? Endings, revelations. And in Pisces, that intuitive, dreamy sign, it suggests these shifts are likely going to hit us on a really emotional, spiritual, maybe subconscious level.
Oh, absolutely. This eclipse is flagged as particularly potent. Illusions are cracked open, is the phrasing used. Old grief might surface, but potentially with the gift of meaning. So, not just pain, but understanding. It's framed as an invitation for a really profound emotional and spiritual journey. We might find ourselves questioning our deepest spiritual beliefs, or maybe just feeling confused about the sheer mystery of the universe. Secrets, hidden information could come to light, demanding our attention. It really emphasizes the individual's need for concentration, for inner quiet. It urges us to have faith in our own subjective strength.
So how can listeners practically navigate these big endings and clearings that this Pisces lunar eclipse seems to bring?
Well, the astrology of the week actually offers a very practical exercise, which I love. It suggests write down one repeating emotional pattern you're ready to end. Burn, shred, or flesh it. Say out loud, this chapter closes, my energy returns to me. It's presented as this powerful little ritual for releasing that old stuff and reclaiming your energy, recognizing that endings really can be blessings, you know?
That's very tangible. I like that. And the StoryScope, it presents this same lunar eclipse as the shattering. Wow. It says it begins with the Blood Eclipse of Pisces, where entire planetary systems watch their skies turn red, and they all get the same warning. Endings are here. And it was apparently right at this moment that this character, First Consul Lyra, on an ocean world called Nerida, whispers that line, "We are not unraveling, we are rewriting." This event leads to illusions cracking open right across the galaxy. Hidden archives unveiled, ancient secrets exposed. It says, for the first time in centuries, reality itself was unmasked.
Yeah. Reality itself was unmasked. I mean, that's a chilling thought, isn't it? But also potentially incredibly freeing. Tears might be shed, yes. Endings come not as whispers, but maybe as collapses, big ones. But the key takeaway, the sort of silver lining in this cosmic storm, seems to be that each collapse revealed a new foundation. So this eclipse isn't just about destruction for its own sake, it's about making way for what comes next.
Okay, so if the blood moon brought these powerful releases, these illuminations, then the new moon solar eclipse in Virgo on September 21st shifts the focus, shifts it towards new beginnings, right? And how we practically integrate all these profound changes. What does Virgo, the sign of meticulous analysis service, bring to this second eclipse?
That's exactly right. If Pisces was about those deeply felt endings, the unmasking of illusions, Virgo helps us organize the resulting chaos into a new, practical reality. A solar eclipse always signifies new beginnings. And having it in this analytical, grounded sign, Virgo, means we're being called to meticulously build, refine, plan our next steps. It's about taking those raw insights, maybe those raw emotions from the Pisces eclipse, and structuring them into something tangible, something workable. On that galactic scale again, this is likely where the rebels, the ones who weaponized the glitches earlier with Uranus, this is where they begin to strategically build their new sciences, integrating that raw innovation into structured plans for what comes next.
Got it. So this second eclipse kind of grounds the more maybe ethereal changes of the first one. It gives us a blueprint, perhaps, for the rewriting we've been talking about all along. It really brings it back to practical application for the listener, doesn't it?
Precisely. And by the end of the month, our sources promised that everything would be transformed. Whether that transformation is quiet or pronounced, as they say, the outcome is clear. We will arrive at our right destination. It sounds like an intense journey, no doubt, but one that promises this profound realignment, moving us from the shattering towards a new, more structured beginning.
And that really brings us towards the end of this deep dive into September 2025.
Right.
Wow. What an incredible journey through these cosmic tides, from, galactic conflicts all the way down to the very personal work of rewriting our own stories.
Yeah, as our sources from Tarot by High C in that whole Eclipse Wars narrative show us, we are definitely in a period of accelerated transformation. The Archivists predicted it right. By the end of the month, everything would be transformed, whether quietly or, with a bang. Eclipse season, these big planetary shifts, they aren't just background noise, they're catalysts. They're propelling us forward, demanding we embrace the change, not fight it.
It really does all come back to that powerful mantra, doesn't it? About rewriting our story, not clinging to what's ending. This whole deep dive has kind of shown us, I think, that each ending really is a door. It reveals a new foundation, as you said.
Yeah.
So as you go about your week and as you move through the rest of this clearly pivotal September, maybe take a moment to reflect. Reflect on the tides in your own life, what chapters feel like they're concluding for you. What old patterns, maybe old beliefs, old stories are you ready to, burn, shred, or flush, as the exercise suggested. And with this new clarity, this opportunity for new beginnings, what fresh story are you ready to rewrite for yourself?
And maybe build on that. Given that reality itself was unmasked during that lunar eclipse, perhaps ask yourself, what foundational belief are you ready to examine? knowing or trusting that each collapse truly does reveal a new foundation. This isn't just about distant stars or sci-fi stories. It's about the quiet, internal revolution you might be asked to lead in your own life, preparing perhaps for whatever this ninth cycle of transformation really means for you.
That's a powerful thought to leave with. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into these fascinating intersections of, well, self-awareness and galactic scale transformation. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and definitely keep writing your own incredible story. We'll get you next time.